Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hello everyone, Craig here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Giles and he's selling his Amazon FBA business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Giles, and how are you doing today?
Hello Craig, I'm very well, thank you.
Great to hear. I'm looking forward to talking more about your business. But before we dive in, let's go over a brief summary of the business. So it's an Amazon FBA business in the health and fitness niche, created in January 2016. The average monthly revenue for the business is $379,978 and makes an average of $97,175 net profit each month. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 46644 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So now that I've given an overview of the business, let's have a look at what's included in the sale. So we have the domain, including all site content and files, an Amazon storefront with 38 SKUs, a trademark and brand registry 2.0, social media accounts for Facebook and Instagram, supplier contracts and relationships, employee contracts, SOPs, and it's important to note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active depositors. And an active Amazon US account is available if a buyer would like that. And this Amazon FBA business sells in the EU marketplace and it passes the VAT threshold for one or more of the marketplaces within the EU. And you can refer to the FAQ section of the listing page for more information on VAT. Okay, Giles, now I'd like to hear from you. Can you tell us a little about your background in building and running online businesses?
No problem. Hi, Craig. So, a quick background on me. I'm 47. So prior to my Amazon business, I spent 15 years in recruitment, running my own recruitment business. I was looking for a way out of recruitment, and this was back in the middle of 2015. And I was aware of Amazon, and I stumbled across, it literally was an online course that I did middle of 2015, and it really, really struck a note with me. And I thought, this is something I can do. I can sell on Amazon. Amazon was huge in the US at the time, still is obviously. The UK was quite established, but Amazon was just really kind of entering Italy, Spain, France, Germany. So I saw an opportunity, did the course, became obsessed with it, launched a product purely on the side, one product, and we started selling a few hundred units. And then by the first Christmas, so December 2015, we sold 2,000 units of this product within the fitness space. And I thought, gosh, I'm onto something here. And I thought, right, I'm going to go for it. So I came out of recruitment and just threw myself at this business, and we've grown steadily, doubling every year since then, and just gradually increasing our product set. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. That's a very inspirational story. So I'm curious as to why you lean towards Amazon FBA as opposed to e-commerce or even sort of content sites. Why did you choose this business model in particular?
Well, FBA is an incredible phenomenon. It's this ability to ship products straight into Amazon. Now we send our goods into a 3PL in the UK, then we drip feed our products into Amazon. But, it's the principle behind these guys storing our products, shipping our products, dealing with all customer services and returns. So, we've got this engine behind us that does, most of the work. We can focus on the marketing, the sales, growing the brand. And it's enabled me, because I sometimes say us, but actually it's me, one-man band, to go from zero to, close to £3 million turnover in 4.5 years. So there's not many business models out there that enable one guy with a laptop to do that so quickly. So that's essentially it. We're in the middle of of this, I call it the gold rush, of, the modern age, which is e-commerce, and Amazon are the number one player within e-commerce. And that's simply why we do that. There are other business models, and we can talk about that later. We have touched on other marketplaces and other things we've been doing, but Amazon FBA has always been our focus. It's something that works well, and we've just kind of gone for it 100%.
Absolutely. Very much a zero to hero story. So how would you attribute your initial success? Would you say it's because you branched out to the European marketplace, or what would you say that was for?
Well, I just think, it was good timing. As I say, I think, the European markets were only really just opening up, and we certainly got in there ahead of a lot of our competition. We've established our brand within those marketplaces. We have always chosen, my strategy is always to go for products that are high demand, mass demand, and go for a small piece of a large pie. And that's why I chose fitness, because fitness is a mass demand product, especially at the moment, but it always has been and always will be. So I think that's partly why we've been successful. My initial strategy was the right one, certainly for the UK and Europe. And these are products, it's an area where there's a lot of players, other companies that are not doing a very good job of presenting their products in terms of images, copy. They're not doing a very good job in terms of the back end and search engine optimization. So it's quite easy, in my opinion, to differentiate yourself with a product. It doesn't always work. We've launched products that have kind of ticked along and perhaps not made a huge amount of money, and we've dropped them. Or we've kept some products because they've been quite, I call them gateway products. They sort of entice customers in who end up buying other products. But we basically have always been quite ruthless. And if a product's not making us minimum sort of £4 or £5, so that's about $7 or $8, then we will drop them. So, whatever space you're in, whatever niche you're in, you've got to do your homework and your research. But essentially, to answer your question, I think that's why we've been successful. We got in there, we launched at the right time, we got ahead of the competition, we're in a great niche. And in my opinion, I think the UK, Europe is an easier marketplace to sell in for me than the USA was. We can talk about that another time if you want. But I found, probably because I'm from the UK, I found it an easier marketplace to ship into, logistics and all of that stuff.
That's really interesting. So you mentioned some growth strategies there, that you've done SEO and you optimized your listing pages and gateway products as well. I'm interested in digging into that a bit more. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Well, yeah, there is a bit of a secret sauce to launching a product. And when you look at our products, I know they really stand out for their amazing images that we have, which sounds like a silly thing because you look at any listing on Amazon, people think, well, a listing's a listing, but they're so wrong because, we have a photographer that takes all of our images and they're absolutely fantastic. Our pictures, we have a graphic designer that can make those really pop. And we really spend our time to make sure the copy is absolutely perfect. And it's got to be right for the marketplace. So, you've got to appeal to the UK customer. You can't just translate a listing and throw it up on the German marketplace or the French marketplace or whatever. You've got to have people that can translate those listings, and they've got to be perfect because it's all about percentages, and if you can improve sales by 5-10%, then over the next 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, month or two, you build up a bit of momentum, and before you know it, you're up on page one. And then it's about quality of the product. We make sure that the quality of our products are absolutely spot on. I'd rather pay more money for a great product to get the right quality so that we get the good reviews, because reviews are so important, as sellers will know, buyers will know, and our reviews and our products are very, very good.
Yeah, it sounds like you've taken a lot of care with this business to grow in the right way, and it's shown with its success, so that's really great to hear. And I mean, you have this fantastic business that's growing, and so how come you're selling it at this point?
Good question. Quite simply, I've been running this business for 5 years. It's been my passion, it's been my baby, and I've been eat, breathing, sleeping this brand. And I feel like all kind of entrepreneurs, business people, you get to a point, it doesn't matter if it's a new job, new house, a new car, you get to a point where you're sort of 4 or 5 years down the road, you think, maybe now's the time to try something else, do something else. I know this business has got such massive potential. The brand is such a strong brand, and it can go to a much bigger level. But to do that, it needs me to kind of go for it again 100% and bring in a team to help me get it to that next level, because I'm a one-man band, and it's been quite hard work in terms of my energy levels to get where we are. To go to the next level, I've got to quadruple that. That means to bring in people, finance, working capital, etc., etc. And I don't think I'm the person to do that. I think now is the time to sell the brand and see what somebody else can do with it. But also, it's the right timing for me because, for a buyer, we're moving into our peak season now over the next 6 months. So really the stars have aligned a little bit, and it's now or never, really, I think. Friends and family think I'm a bit crazy selling it because it's such a great business. But I feel in my heart, I know now is the time because it's got so much potential.
Yeah, absolutely. And the success you've had with this business, and you'll have some sort of winning formulas, so to speak, to apply to future sites of businesses.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of which, you mentioned when you first started the business, you're looking for the right niche and the right marketplaces. That was sort of something that worked for you. Is there anything else that you've sort of learned from building this business that you will apply to future businesses that you create?
Yeah, I think that certainly if I stay within the online space, I think I would do more networking, sort of more mixing with, in these mastermind groups and mentoring. And that's something that probably I haven't done enough of, because it can get a bit lonely on your own and you're not always bouncing ideas about stimulating. I mean, I do go out and network and all the rest of it, but anybody who's run an Amazon FBA business, there is a lot of time where you are on your own. I think if I was to do it again, I would do a lot more networking and mixing with people that have taken a business from a $3, $4, $5 million business to, 10, 15, 20 million, and probably just try to think bigger in terms of putting in, teams, infrastructure and processes, best practices and all the rest of it to help scale that company. I always had ideas around doing that, but I've kind of reached the maximum in terms of where I can go at the moment. I think probably opening up into other markets as well. There's a lot of other marketplaces and other channels, which I have touched on. But, we would definitely go into the USA because that's a massive market. We did actually have a brief foray into the USA, and I did sell a product. We sold about $40,000 worth of product there, with one product. But I felt at the time I was spreading myself a bit thin. I didn't really understand selling into the US in terms of the shipping process is a bit different. It's a bit complicated to me anyway. Somebody in the US, they might find shipping into the UK a bit complicated, but I found it a bit difficult. So I was probably a bit risk averse, and I pulled back and just focused on what I knew, which was the UK and Europe. So if I was to do it again, I would definitely sort of get my head around that because it's such a big market, as well as other marketplaces, Canada, Australia, Turkey. It's an amazing time to be selling on the internet at the moment. And Amazon continues to take over the world. So just looking at ways of leveraging Amazon more, as well as other marketplaces. That's probably the two main things I would do. So think bigger and open up other channels.
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
Which somebody else can do, I know my own strengths.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and you've got to know them so you can use them to your advantage. And certainly have with this business, it's had a lot of success. Now, is there anything you've tried that sort of didn't work out as expected?
We have launched probably about 40 SKUs over the last 4 or 5 years. That's including colour variations and size variations. So there's been a few products that haven't worked out. I wouldn't say I would have done it different because, I did that having done all my homework, and sometimes, you win some, you lose some. On the whole, we've been successful with our products. I can't really say I do things differently because each time I launch a product, I always learn along the way. Things that probably I do, that haven't worked out really have been the social media side. We haven't done a lot on that side at all. And that's a massive area, especially in fitness. Sports influencers can have a huge impact. Co-branding with athletes, sky's the limit with fitness brands and products. So stuff that we haven't really done enough of and hasn't really worked out has been our social media strategy. We've not really done anything on that side at all. I do have a Facebook page. We do have an Instagram page. We've launched a few, product launches. I've got some videos, but that's more social proof. People want to Google, who are, nearly said my name there, but who are we? They can find us online, but that is a massive area. You've got companies like, you've got Instagram, you've got TikTok at the moment where, you can have an influencer that reaches out to 1 million people. So if you've got a fitness brand, the sky's the limit at the moment. And that's something I just don't know about, but potentially a buyer could use that channel more.
So those using social media and reaching out to influencers, those would be some strategies that you would use to grow this business if you were to keep running it?
Yeah, as I say, I think definitely building up the social media side. Definitely, we do very, very little on our own website. It's actually a nice website, but we get a steady trickle of orders from our website from doing absolutely nothing. So definitely social media, definitely building up our own website more and launching into other marketplaces, launching into the USA, networking and working with mentors, going to some of these high roller mastermind groups, thinking big, building a team, and just going to that next level. That's what I would do if I wasn't selling the business. And that's what I might well do. We're not 100% selling this company. Friends and family think I'm crazy. That's what needs to happen next. And to go from where I am to that, I can do it. It's going to need to go up another level. And that's why I think a company that's got big established teams, deep pockets, big ideas, can take this company and hit the ground running and can just easily scale it. I know it can take off to another level.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree with that 100%. So that's what you do for growth.
That's quite a good one. You should use that bit, actually. I think that was quite a good little...
Yeah, definitely. So what about the day-to-day, just maintaining the business? What sort of work tasks do you do?
Well, listen, anybody that says, I see this all the time, anybody that says that they run their FBA business, 1 hour a week is a liar, I'm afraid, because that's not the case. I probably spend a couple of hours a day on my business because I'm passionate about my company. I'm on it all the time. I'm monitoring competitors. I'm thinking about, a lot of my business time is spent actually, especially at the moment, dealing with shipping and getting orders pushed along the process, making sure everything's done correctly and we're shipping stuff into Amazon and all the rest of it. And I'm always tweaking and changing things and adjusting our advertising spend and that sort of thing. I don't use any automated software. I do it manually. So these are things that people can fine tune and can probably get the business down to an hour with automated systems and process and software. We don't have a lot of software. I don't have a lot of automated stuff. As I say, I'm very hands-on. I do have follow-up emails go out, but I'm very much on top of, monitoring reviews and that sort of thing. So I'm spending an hour or two every day, which is not a lot, right? It's not much time at all, but yeah, I'm on it for a couple of hours a day. There's no doubt about that. Because if you take your eye off the ball, things can go wrong.
Absolutely. Yeah, it sounds like you're running this business very well. So you mentioned some marketing channels I would like to dig into a bit more if you don't mind. So you mentioned email, you do advertising and SEO. Are those your three main marketing channels?
Well, we have taken our strategy is Amazon, and we have dabbled, as I mentioned, we've dabbled with our own website, and we've had these sort of ideas where we're going to launch products on Facebook and Google, and we've spent money, just not seen the return on investment that you get with spending extra money, for the same products on Amazon. So our strategy is convert as many customers or more customers on Amazon that are there to shop to buy things. Because on Amazon, somebody goes to Amazon to buy something. If you're trying to convert somebody on Google, it's a bit like standing there with a sign on the side of the motorway saying, buy this product as people drive past. Whereas on Amazon, somebody is going in to the shop looking for your product or a similar product, and you're there. So it's a much better conversion ratio, and that's what we focus on. So we use the Amazon pay-per-click and also sponsored ads, and that is it. That is our strategy. But as I say, there's all these other channels that I know that could, if you knew what you were doing, which we don't on the social media side, you could absolutely leverage these products. Influencers is something that is huge. You only got to look at companies like Gymshark, who are £1 billion company now, and they have done that through using influencers to rapidly grow their company. So there's all these interesting, exciting areas off Amazon that you could do.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with that 100%. So
our strategy has never been to spend big, make big on advertising. I know some sellers will spend £10,000 to make £100,000. That's not really how I've viewed advertising. I always found that strategy a bit scary. My view is that the product should sell itself. We use advertising to sort of tickle the sales along, to sort of grease the wheels a bit. So rather than it being the main way we get sales, we use it as a way of just give it a bit of an extra push. So our pay-per-click and advertising costs are quite low relative to sales. I'm pretty sure the numbers back that up, and just from conversations with other sellers.
Okay, yeah, that's a strategy that's certainly worked for you in this business. And curious to know, what do you think are the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
Well, I'm very open and honest about that. I think any buyer that's in the space knows that Amazon is a bit of a double-edged sword. On one side, they're absolutely incredible, and you can grow a business and scale a business, anywhere in the world and take advantage of that. On a negative, they are becoming increasingly sort of algorithm bot-driven, and you really have to be careful in terms of making sure you adhere to terms of sale, so you're not doing naughty things, which we've never done, but making sure that images are correct, copies correct. If you are sending follow-up emails, that you're adhering to their rules, because they can shut you down or suspend you. And I've heard some horror stories that happening to sellers. But, if you play by the rules, which we always have done, we've always been very professional, then there's no reason why that would ever happen. There is that tiny risk with Amazon. But other than that, every business has their challenges. Within e-commerce, you've got to be careful if you're putting in, you get to the size we're at, we're shipping multiple containers over. So obviously there's risk associated with that, in terms of making sure that you've got your labeling absolutely spot on, the quality absolutely spot on, because you don't want to find yourself in a situation where a container's labeled up incorrectly or you've got some faulty products. So we're very, very hot on that. But there's an element of risk with that, and that is the risk you get with e-commerce. As you get bigger and you scale bigger, if things go wrong, they can go wrong in a big way. But that's why you've got to be very careful. You've got to manage your product properly, which we do. We've got insurance as well to cover that risk in terms of lost and damage. So if we have a container sink on all the way over, which has never happened, thank God, or the warehouse burns down, with a couple $100,000 worth of stock, we've got insurance covered, that will cover that to mitigate those risks. But that's pretty much it, really. I mean, there are risks associated with any retail, whether it's online or bricks and mortar. There are product liability risks. So if your product, ours are very simple, very basic. That's why I like them. But, if somebody hurts themselves, you've got to have a product liability to make sure you cover it, which we do. We have a very good relationship with insurance. Our company, we've never had a problem ever. So, yeah. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely, yeah. It sounds like you put a lot of measures in to mitigate risk.
I spent 15 years running a recruitment business. I learned a lot of lessons from running my own company, which I've applied to this business. I like to take risks, but I'm also a little bit risk averse now, and I will pull back from things that spread me a bit too thin and I believe are a bit too risky. So we've been very careful how we've grown this business, and that's why we've got to where we are now.
Absolutely, yeah, that's some great insights. So now onto the sale of this business. Would you commit to a non-compete?
Yes, I would do that for the specific, niche that we're in.
Okay, great. And how much support are you willing to offer buyers? Are you going for the standard 30 days of email and Skype support?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Maybe a bit longer, we can talk about that. I want this brand to be successful wherever it goes, but ultimately, I'm looking to sort of come out of the business and then ultimately work on some other projects.
Absolutely. And are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
I am, but in terms of my sort of decision-making process, the earn-out does not add a huge amount of weight. The most important thing for me is the upfront payment. And the main reason for that is, if we hand our business to another company, I cease to have influence how that brand is then run. So if something happens to that brand, I mean, even if it takes off in the second year, and if revenue drops in that 12 months, it's so far away that, it's a nice thing to have, but it's a very low weighting in terms of my decision making when it comes to selling this brand.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. So, yeah, is there anything else you would like to share that I might have missed?
Well, other than I know that this brand permeates way off Amazon. You only have to go onto Google and type our name, and we have hundreds of thousands of customers in the UK and Europe. And, when you're going to parties and you tell people what you do, and they're telling you, oh, I've got one of those in my bedroom. People are saying to you, oh, I know your brand. You know, you've got this established base of customers that you know you've got something, and I know I do. And I know this is very exciting brand that can be taken to another level. So I think it's a great opportunity now for a buyer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that. Sounds like you very much believe in your brand, and it's shown with the results it's gotten. So, yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, Charles. It's been great talking to you.
Pleasure.
All right, everyone, thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 46644. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.